Hello, my name doesn't matter anymore. What matters is why I'm here. If you're watching this in 2026, understand this was not easy to record. For years, I lived behind closed doors, candles burning low, symbols etched into my skin and soul. Today, I greet you not as who I was, but as someone who escaped. Stay with me, because what I'm about to expose was never meant to be shared publicly. I was trained to believe witchcraft was unstoppable, that once a spell was cast, the target was doomed, emotionally, financially, spiritually. I watched lives unravel in silence, but something changed. I began to notice certain people were untouched. No matter how precise the ritual, no matter how powerful the coven, the attack would collapse. That terrified me more than any demon I had ever invoked. In the inner circles, we whispered about them. We didn't call them protected, we called them blocked. Every curse redirected, every manifestation returned void. At first, I thought it was coincidence. But witchcraft doesn't respect coincidence. Patterns are everything, and the pattern I saw was undeniable. 3 protections existed that we could not penetrate. No matter the year, no matter the ritual. The first protection is not an object, not a symbol, not even a prayer the way most people understand prayer. It is alignment. When a person's identity is anchored beyond fear, manipulation becomes impossible. In witchcraft, we exploit emotional fractures, trauma, guilt, desire. But when those fractures are healed, there is nothing to attach to, no hook, no entry. I remember targeting a woman who should have been easy. Recent loss, financial pressure, emotional isolation, perfect conditions. I prepared for days. But the moment I invoked her name, the atmosphere shifted. My candles flickered violently, then went out, every single one. I felt exposed, not attacked, seen. That had never happened before. Later, my mentor explained it angrily. "She knows who she is," he said. "You can't overwrite a soul that's already claimed." That was my first crack. Witchcraft feeds on confusion of identity. When someone is rooted, spiritually, morally, internally, our words have no authority. In 2026, this protection has grown stronger, and most witches won't admit it. The second protection shocked me even more because it required no awareness. Some people don't even know they're shielded. This protection comes from renunciation, spoken or unspoken, of darkness. When someone consciously or unconsciously rejects manipulation, domination, and spiritual shortcuts, it closes contracts we rely on. Yes, contracts. Many attacks work because permission existed somewhere. I once attacked a man who never prayed, never fasted, never spoke about faith. Yet every ritual failed. Eventually, I saw it. He refused bitterness. He refused revenge. He refused hatred. Witchcraft cannot function without emotional fuel. When a person cuts off those inner supplies, spells starve before they're born. This is why in 2026, Witchcraft focuses more on provoking reactions than casting spells. If we can't curse you, we try to anger you. If we can't bind you, we try to exhaust you. Emotional regulation has become a threat to the occult world, and very few people realize how powerful calm truly is. The third protection was forbidden knowledge, never taught to beginners. It is authority through higher submission. When a person submits their will to a higher moral or divine authority, all lower authorities lose jurisdiction. In the spirit realm, hierarchy is law. We cannot override what stands above us. That's why certain names were never spoken lightly. I crossed a line once. I challenged that authority directly. What followed ended my life as a witch forever, not because I was punished, but because I was exposed. Everything I thought I controlled was illusion. Power didn't belong to rituals. It belonged to alignment, renunciation, and authority. And once I saw that, I couldn't unsee it. If you're still watching, Part 2 will reveal how witches adapt in 2026, how they attempt to bypass these protections, and how you can strengthen them without ever stepping into fear. What I'm about to share next is the reason I left everything behind. If you made it here, understand this. You're already harder to target than you think. In 2026, witchcraft hasn't disappeared. It has evolved. But so have the protections. What most people don't realize is that darkness doesn't lose because it's weak. It loses because it's limited. And limits are everything in the unseen world. After I left, former associates reached out in panic. Rituals weren't working the way they used to. Manifestations delayed. Backfires increasing. Mental breakdowns becoming common. The reason. These three protections are spreading naturally. People are waking up without joining movements, religions, or belief systems. Consciousness itself is becoming hostile to manipulation. To counter alignment, which is now focused on identity confusion, social fragmentation, constant noise. When people don't know who they are, spells regain access. That's why distraction is more dangerous than ignorance. Silence strengthens identity. Stillness terrifies the occult. In my old coven, silence was forbidden. We always needed sound, chants, stimulation. To counter renunciation, witches provoke moral exhaustion. Everyone does it, we'd say. Nothing matters. Once morality erodes, contracts reopen. But here's the truth. Every time you choose restraint over impulse, you sever unseen agreements. You don't need rituals to do this. Your daily decisions are already spiritual acts. Authority is the hardest protection to bypass. That's why mockery is used instead of confrontation. If we could break authority directly, we would. But we can't. So we ridicule it, distort it, and associate it with hypocrisy. Not because it's false, but because it's effective. Authority above us renders us irrelevant. I want you to understand something clearly. Fear is not protection. Obsession is not protection. Fighting darkness on its terms only feeds it. The most protected people I ever encountered didn't know spells. They knew boundaries. They didn't shout. They stood firm. They didn't chase power. They submitted to truth. Leaving witchcraft cost me everything: status, community, identity. But it gave me something greater: clarity. I no longer wake up sensing threats everywhere. I no longer hear whispers demanding control. Peace is not passive. It is fortified, and it is available to anyone willing to let go of domination. If you're wondering whether someone has tried to target you, ask yourself this: have attacks failed lately? Have manipulations collapsed? Have lies unraveled on their own? Those aren't coincidences. Those are signs of blockage, and blockages don't require confrontation. They require consistency. In 2026, the most dangerous people to the occult are not influencers, prophets, or mystics. They are emotionally regulated, morally grounded, spiritually aligned individuals who refuse to be moved. We can't predict them. We can't provoke them. And we can't touch them. I share this not to glorify my past, but to dismantle its power. Darkness survives on secrecy. Once exposed, it loses leverage. You don't need to fear witchcraft, but you should understand it. Knowledge removes mystique, and mystique is where fear hides. If this story resonated with you, it's not by accident. Escaping doesn't always mean running away. Sometimes it means standing still while lies fall apart around you. This is not the end of my testimony, but it is the beginning of your awareness. Thank you for listening. Stay grounded, stay aligned, and remember, what cannot attach cannot attack.